Realtree's Midwest Whitetail is brought to you by Hoyt, Heumann Tree Saws, Lone Wolf Tree Stands, Nikon, Ozonics, Redneck Blinds, RTP Outdoors, Spot Hog Releases, Wasp Archery, Viking Solutions, and Realtree.
Day 30, November 26th. You can probably hear this wind howling through the trees and blowing against the microphone on this camera. It's about a 20-mile-an-hour wind, I'd say, northwest wind. We had a blizzard last night. We got about 10 inches of snow. I didn't hunt yesterday. I mean, it was just a whiteout blizzard. I mean, I don't think the deer moved until maybe at the very end of it. But they should be really moving tonight. And the spot that we're going to is it's a long hike all the way down into the big bottom. We drove in here with the truck and parked. I'm facing west. I'm going to be walking more or less into this wind down into this big bottom. That's planted to beans. And the deer will really hit standing crop when there's snow on the ground like this. And when the temperature starts to drop, they really start to get panicky. And you'll find them just pouring into any kind of a standing crop. We should see a lot of deer, but the only downside being the fact that the field is about 7 acres. So trying to cover a field that big with a bow, especially from a blind that's on the edge of the field and not in the middle of it, it's pretty tough. I mean, it wouldn't even work to put the blind in the middle because there'd be no way to get out of there. There's no way to come in here and blow this field. I mean, I couldn't even expect a family member to come down in here and do this. This is going to be kind of an all or nothing sort of an effort for us. We're going to see a ton of deer, but we're probably not going to get a shot. But maybe we can get a bead on a buck that we can come back and hunt him from a tree stand on the fringe someplace, or put together a different strategy for the rest of this week. This whole week now should be pretty good. Colder, all this snow. Like I said, it's really going to push these deer to come out into these standing crops. So we got a hike ahead of us. I'm carrying all of my gear, all my outerwear. It doesn't do any good to wear it and get all sweaty, so I carry in the outerwear on these longer hikes and then put it on once we get to where we're headed, in this case to a redneck blind. Won't be too bad. We got the little heater, so once we get in there we'll be fine. Just gonna be a little bit of a chilly hike getting there.
Chasing him, or is he? That's the one we saw before. That 8. It was like, hey, we'd like to see that 8 again. Yeah, that's him. Yeah. Okay, so that is the buck. That was the scar-faced buck. That 10-pointer, I think.
Golly, he's got a big old body.
Yeah. He's at least 5 if that's the deer that I think he is. I like him a lot. He's not very big, but he's just big enough. I think it's, like I said, I think it's that scar-faced deer. I don't see any scars on his face, though. Mr. Big didn't like that. Yeah, it's the scar-faced buck. I can see the scars now. Yep. See, I didn't give him credit for being big enough. Remember those pictures I showed you of him? I figured he's like 130-inch deer.
Man, he's closing in pretty good.
He was super daylight active, too. Scar was making a move, too, wasn't he? We need a collection of does to come right down here in front of the blind.
Yeah, we need his girlfriend to move on down here.
We had a field full of deer just about 5 minutes ago, and I had opened the windows. There's some more deer starting to come back out now, but I'd opened a couple of the windows because it was getting so much condensation on the inside that it was hard to film out. And I think there must have been something downwind of us that picked us up, because the deer, at least a couple of them, went on red alert, and then they bolted, and that took the rest of them with. But there was a buck out there. He's a deer that I've had trail camera pictures of in this field for the past 2 years, and he's definitely one that I would shoot. He's one of 2 targets that I knew of coming in here. The other one's a real big 8-pointer, a big, beautiful 8-pointer. We haven't seen him yet. But that 10-pointer is a pretty cool buck. He's at least 5 years old. I don't know if he's any older than that, but there's probably an hour of legal shooting time left. You know, at least we're in the game. We're seeing a buck that's a shooter. That's pretty cool. And maybe with some luck, you know, he'll bump a doe over this way, and we'll get a crack at him yet before the night's over.
I just smelled this. I wonder if the wind died and swirled. Look at her.
As expected, almost all of the deer came back out again. They get kind of, I don't know what it is. I guess it's kind of a group mentality. One deer spooks, and they don't know why. And it may be nothing, and that clears the field. But they don't stay off the field for very long. I mean, usually 15 minutes and they'll be back out again. So there's 28 deer on the field right now. But unfortunately, those bucks, at least the older ones that were out there earlier, have not come back out again. So there's going to be a lot of white flags waving when we get out of this ground blind, unfortunately. Our plan is to keep hunting every evening this week. And we're going to get on food somewhere, whether it's back down here again or not. I can't say, but we'll try to find some spot where the deer are piling into the food. That's where the action's at. So keep checking back, and maybe we can get one of these deer on the ground for you.